talking about fantastic design and big-ass charts tonight. I'm a researcher and also a designer of fantastic things. Those are zucchini. So creativity is in higher demand than ever before in the business world and really all over the world. But there's a shortage of truly creative people. And my man here, Sir Ken Robinson, has written a couple books about it, done some talks that you may have seen. And he basically talks about how our education system and society as a whole is stifling the creativity out of us that we're born with. Because all kids are creative. We all know that. So the next 5 minutes is all about embracing your funkiness, your personality, your creativity, and letting loose, and letting that show in everything you do. First, let's think about an experience that you remember from a month ago. Chances are it's something that was fantastic, delightful, and therefore memorable. Hopefully it was nothing like this, which is a pretty stale stock photo business op. So without getting into a dissertation on human memory or anything, I think we can all agree that memorable experiences tend to be something with fantastic elements in them, or the delightful, or they make you happy. So how can we do that and bring that into everything we do? Well, everyone's creative, I truly believe that. And more often than not, people get in their own way of being creative. We've seen a couple talks about that. You have to be persistent and let yourself shine. So everyone is creative. So I have 3 examples, real quick, to go through of creativity that has shined through via design. So the first example, I just got this Fly Timbuktu bag in the mail, and they did something pretty cool with their shipping bag. I actually brought it. And they put a biking map of San Francisco on it, and they're a biking map messenger bag brand. So this fits perfect with them. And they could have just slapped it in the UPS box and mailed it to me, but instead they went the extra mile, they showed some brand personality, and they got creative, and it really made my day when I got that. The next example, you might recognize these 2 fellas. They're musicians, and they could have been 2 guys standing up at a mixing table just making beats, but instead they embody themselves in these costumes and use creativity to make an experience, and it's so much more memorable than anyone else. And for me, it's kind of like a local band, Rovi. You may have seen them, and they wear these masks and wear lasers and stuff, so they became more than just 2 musicians. The last example relates to kind of what I do, and with research you get data, and with data you need to visualize it and bring it to life for it to be memorable. So this is a pretty boring, typical pie chart. Good data is really narrative, and it tells a story, and you use creativity to tell that story and make it memorable. So back to this big-ass chart thing, so a little bit of background. We do research, we get data, we get lots of data, and we sort it by frequency. So here it's all jumbled together. And there we've sorted it by high-frequency ideas. And this big-ass chart really visualizes those ideas across segments, and it's a big matrix at the end of the day. So when I'm making this thing, I want it to be memorable. I don't want it to be this boring matrix that people are going to hate to look at, even though they need to. So I decided, hey, I'm going to make it hot. What do I mean by making it hot? It's going to be aesthetically pleasing, okay? And then it's going to be organized and digested down, so it's really bite-sized bits of data that you can get in a nutshell pretty quickly. And then I was like, all right, well, I could call it, the high-frequency cross-segmentation compared to the matrix, but that sounds horrible. And I want people to forget they're looking at this boring matrix. I want it to be something more, kind of like Daft Punk. I want it to be an experience. And we informally call it around the office the big-ass chart. And this thing really is big, 10 feet by 3.5 feet. This is a monster chart, and you can see all the frequency data plotted across different segments. So it's a pretty powerful tool when you look at it, and you can dive into it and really study it and get some good insights. And when I was making this, I was just picturing, our clients are sitting around at this table doing some business strategy, making big things happen. And they're like, oh, what was that idea that we had in that one market? Okay, yeah, Bob, let me go check the big-ass chart and see what it says. I guarantee you everyone around that table is going to remember checking the big-ass chart for the data. It's pretty memorable. So at the end of the day, I hope in the future, tomorrow, whenever you're working on something next, you could embed some of your personality, be creative, be bold, be be fantastic. Just have a good time with what you're doing at the end of the day. Thank you.
All right, that was awesome, Jeff.